everybody. I'm Jeff Lund, and this is the last mediocre podcast for 2017. Over at Kevin's house, we've got some people over here. We've got a prime rib that is cooking. We're going to be devouring that later. Going to talk about resolutions. We're going to talk about why they succeed, why they fail, what some of the reasons that people make them, and why self-improvement, which is essentially what a resolution is, should not start on one day. It should be a progressive sort of thing and approach. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things, and hope you have a great new year. This is the last Mediocre Lesson podcast for 2017. Here we go. You took the dogs out. What hike did you do today? Or was it just a walk?
Simple one. Just did Rainbird today. Yeah. The whole thing down the back, went and then walked over to my dad's house, talked to him for a little bit.
There you go. That's good.
See what he was doing. Yeah. He put a bet on this Filipino basketball game. The score was he was exact on the score. It was like 104 to 98. It was 5 seconds left. So he asked me, like, what would you do if you're the team down 6? And I'd have the ball? I was like, no, they have the ball. You're down by 5 seconds. I want to foul. Like, you think you have a chance? I was like, yeah. Regardless if I have a chance or not. Yeah. That's what I mean. Give yourself the best chance, right? To foul. Well, I didn't know he was gambling, and he had some money down. Like I said, he had the exact score. The guy's fouled, and he made one free throw, so he... What was it, 10? What did I say, 104 to 98? Yeah. It was 105 to 98, and he missed the chance of winning. Like
the over-under or total points thing? Yeah. Gambling scares me, man.
Oh, they're horrible.
I went to Vegas with some of my buddies for a bachelor, or no, it was New Year's. It was like 2004, maybe, something like that. I think it was the first year I was teaching. All the college buddies got back together, and we go into a roulette table, and for some reason, they all gave the money to me. So everyone pitched in $20. Went to the roulette table, got $100 on there. And there was that Passenger 57, Wesley Snipes.
Oh, yeah.
Man, you always bet on black. And so I was like, what should I do? I always bet on black. So we put $100 down and won. Oh, because roulette's the worst odds.
You're just giving up chances.
Yeah.
Every time.
And so at least, it's the coin flip, essentially, if you're going red or black. We're pretty close because there's a little green on there too. So we won double the money. Boom. We've been in Vegas half hour. All right. And then I said, well, what do we do? I said, well, take one of the chips away. Okay. And then bet with the winnings. Lost.
Everything.
Okay. And so then, all right, well, now we have our initial investment. What do I do with that? Go again. So bet on black again 3 times in a row and lost it. And so I was like, dude, that took like a minute from I had $100 in my hand, bet it, doubled it for us on our behalf, and then lost the winnings, and then lost the initial investment. I thought, this is going to be a long weekend because I can't do this. But it scared me. I don't... even like, I don't know, fantasy football is pretty different, but any sort of that, when money and I'm so intense on things that I can't control, that's just real. I get real nervous about that. I don't think I'm like a control freak, but I don't. It scares me.
You put a lot of time into like effort and like earning that money to lose it.
Yeah, so quick.
So quick.
Yeah.
My gambling experience was short. My cousin was like, "Here, download this app, learn everything you can about blackjack," and we had like 20 minutes before we went. I said, okay, I'm just remembering these images. It's like, all right, with 14 hit, 15, just like,
yeah.
Won some money with like 5 hands, and I was like, all right, this is good. I'm gonna keep going. Double my money. I was like, okay. I'm like 19 at the time. I don't know, I was about 19. I'm 21, right? Yeah, became 21 again. Yeah, because like feeding you alcohol. It's feeding you alcohol, right?
Alaska's not that different.
So long ago. Because I don't gamble anywhere, ever. Not really. But it was, when you win like $200, you're like, all right, this is cool. And that's not even a lot of money, but it's like, I won something.
Yeah.
And I lost it all.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm done.
Because you don't walk away.
No. You don't.
You
Instant
just
gratification, right? So,
you gotta keep rolling it. Like, hey, I'm on a hot streak right now. Why would I? Especially as like coming from an athletic background, not like a huge athletic background, but it's a high school sport. Like, hey, I just hit 2 3-pointers in a row. I'm gonna start passing it. No, you keep going it. Right? You keep shooting until you miss, and if you miss one, like, oh man, as you keep going, it's just, oh man, it's terrifying.
Speaking of basketball, how did it go last night? I didn't get to watch.
Lost by 2. Had 5 chances to tie it, and then a 3-pointer at the end to win it, and missed. But they fought. That was cool to. It's early season, so we got the chances through defense and being scrappy and forcing turnovers to be able to put in that situation. It was always better that way rather than, we're hitting shots but we can't play D. I'd rather have a team lose a game like that because we're playing D, we're scrapping, we're boxing out, and they had 2 girls that were over 6 foot, 6'2", 6'3" almost. So it was just, they got it down in the kill zone. It was not a whole lot we could do, but in spite of all that, a really good guard too who just ate us up. But still in spite of all that, still right there. So you can work on that. You can work on offensive execution. We missed a couple layups, missed whatever. That you can fix that. The mindset was good. So that was cool to lost, but never like to lose. But
I think you said it's 4 games in.
And it's a school from Washington, so it's not even we don't have to worry about we're going to play them again. It's fine. So
they play the same amount of games as we do. But we play like 26 games a year.
They capped it. The caps are pretty similar. When I coached in California, it was about the same amount of games. Okay. But they start a little bit earlier. So I remember when I was in California, we'd have our first games like the very 1st of December.
Oh, geez.
Practice.
They got weeks in front of you guys, or weeks ahead of you guys.
Yeah,
in terms of conditioning and strategy.
Yeah, so they're. I just talked to a buddy of mine who still coaches girls at the old high school I was at, and they're 9-3 or something like that right now. So they're deep into about ready to start league. But it's so much easier to travel and pick up games because 20-minute drive, 30-minute drive. There's so many schools so close. It's not a huge budgetary issue. A lot of tournaments to go to, and so it's here if you're gonna travel and this is a huge deal. This is not a simple little let's pick up a game here in Juneau. this is Alaska Airlines, big time.
3 days here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Coach is gonna go down to Vegas and win us some tickets to a tournament. But,
you what is your 3rd, 4th year coaching girls?
This is year 3. Yeah, being assistant. Yeah, it's cool. 10 years of coaching boys in California. Coaching is coaching. Kids are kids. Even teaching high school, whether it's California or whether it's here, it's same issues, same things, same. High school kids are insecure, right? It doesn't matter where you're at. But it's nice that the kids are a little bit more connected to real things up here. Like, they're not immune to the distraction of nonsense.
Oh, I can only imagine what the distractions down there.
It's hard. The identity of where I grew up has strong agricultural roots because it's in the Central Valley, and so it's kind of the hard-working, almond orchards and, farming. It's has the roots in farming. And so it's outdoors, it's hard work, but now with everything kind of the farmland taken up by homes, you're losing that. And it's not easy to go out and hike or hunt or fish. It takes a lot of time. And if you do go fishing, you're out on the levee and it's chocolatey looking water and there's agricultural runoff and not ideal. So it's kind of tough that the kids want to do stuff outside, but it's very limited as far as, they can't just go out, for the weekend or after school. Like, I'm just going to go on let's go hang out in the woods. Let's go go do the trail. Yeah. You see the kids that are back here for Christmas from college, they're going on hikes and stuff like that. Even kids after school sometimes, I just go to Ward Lake and, run. Yeah. For a 16, 17-year-old kid to say that, clear my head by running around a lake in the woods. That's therapeutic, man. That's what doctors, and therapists are recommending people do to get away from that.
Older folks are doing that.
Yeah.
At 17, it's amazing. I remember one day I was down in California with my brother, just visiting, Memorial Day weekend, and I just remember seeing all these cars on the highway. I'm just like, hey, what's going on over there? Well, people are camping. What?
Yeah.
People are getting away.
Yeah, getting away. Yeah.
No, we're like,
yeah.
You just literally have to pull off the highway and park. That's like where everybody's at. And there were just hundreds of cars, and I was like, oh man, this is not getting away.
No.
And I'm not.
No.
I don't use elastic to its fullest, and that's something that maybe we'll talk about later. You're going into 2018 using elastic to its fullest. But man, it was like cars packed on top of cars.
Yeah.
I mean, inches away from each other.
Yeah.
And even when we were driving the one.
Yeah.
Up to
the PCH.
Yeah. Just cars. Even just going to the beach is like that's not a getaway. You're like right on the highway with hundreds of cars right next to you, sharing land. I mean,
we pulled off to take a picture of just one of those bluffy areas. I think it was that the Pfeiffer waterfall or whatever. And you got to sprint across real quick because there's cars coming. Yeah, the entire we didn't even go into that parking lot because there's no way we're going to get a spot.
No,
so
in or out.
Pull off on the side of the road as much as possible, and it's insane. I was fishing the Truckee River with a buddy of mine and didn't make reservations because I'm still in that sort of, I'll just figure it out when we get out there. I mean, there's campsites all over the place. And it's kind of near Tahoe, but it was during the summer, and it was just people everywhere. So we went to this one campsite, and totally full, 100 and something spots. So we drive down 2-3 more miles, there's another campsite, and that's totally full. You're talking about hundreds and hundreds of spots filled with people. And so, you're getting out, and you're in the woods, but the stress, you're still around a lot of people. And they call it the bikini hatch. So it's like, well,
okay.
You're trying to fish nice parts of the river, and there's a lot of trout, but you have so many people that are using it for recreation with float tubes and with rafts and this and that. And so it's just hundreds of people on rafts floating down. You're trying to fish, but it's just the constant stream of people, spooking the fish, splashing around this and that, and a lot of fly fishers are hate it. Like, oh man, you cannot fish the Truckee in July and August because the bikini hatch. And other people are like, well, that sounds kind of fun. And, if I'm going to not be able to fish, it's kind of you see people that are having a good time on the river too, like using it, and so it's fine because it's not your river. But getting away so you can have that really quiet stillness. It's tough to get down there.
Oh, it's
one of my favorite spots to fish on the Truckee River is right off Interstate 80. Like you're going 70, you get in the slow lane. And then you are slowing down as much as you can, and as soon as you cross this bridge, you are getting off the road, and you're hitting this dirt little pullout, and you got trucks that are right behind you, and so it's a pretty chaotic. And then you got to merge right on because there's you don't take an exit, you jump off, and then you get back on. It's pretty hairy, but beautiful river. I can't imagine what it looked like before the interstate, but it's different. It's stressful still.
so different.
Today, walking around in the woods, it's just totally quiet. And so close. There's no hum of the freeway.
And it's easy to get in. I mean, not even like in your head, but it's easy to get. When it's quiet, it's easy to think about those things. Like, people like to sit down and think about.
Yeah.
We're talking it's New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
People are like, all right, resolution, it's time to set new goals, and it's like, how do you really come up with these new goals or even these new things you're chasing if you can't even find quiet time or get in your own head, right? Easy when you're in a trail by yourself and it's quiet. It's like, okay, I'm basically talking to myself and the wolves that are watching me or something like that, right?
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
The faster everything is, the harder it is to focus and remember what your plan was. Because like, here's the plan. I took some quiet time and I thought it out, wrote it out, whatever you did, made promises to yourself. And then everything starts, and it's crazy. It's like you were talking about basketball earlier. It's like basketball when a team presses you. You know, the game plan is to we're going to execute this play and we're going to do this, but then the team comes out and press, and you didn't expect the press, and so now all of a sudden there's chaos, and you forgot everything. You forgot about, we're going to hit the high post, we're going to do this, or we're going to screen and look to do this. Or defensively, hey, we're going to do this, but all of a sudden this person is way faster than you thought, and all of a sudden the entire plan goes out the window. And when your life is so chaotic and everything is stressful, how are you supposed to calm down and, hey, how did I do my goals today? Like, what was my goal? Did I accomplish that? It's just too hectic. It's too crazy. You don't have those moments to, hey, how did I do today? What do you got for this year? What we've talked earlier about, like, words that we're focusing on. I'm not a huge resolution type fan, but everything is kind of coinciding with where I'm at in life right now. It happens to be New Year's, and so there's some things that I'm going to focus on. But as far as New Year, new me, I hate that crap.
I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah. What do you got?
Well, I'm still there are a couple of things that I need to finish up that I started in 2017, and this online class I'm finishing up this year. So that's not really a 2018 goal.
Yeah.
Right. A couple of things. I was talking to you about earlier, putting my voice out there a little bit more, not necessarily to the lower 48 or anything. I don't care how far it goes, but honestly, just putting some sort of voice out there, being heard in terms of the fitness realm. I think I don't know if the last time we talked about. I got my cousin in there. Man, it was amazing just to hear some of dietary practices they have for him and his family. But it's not just him. It's a lot of folks who come to the gym have the same issue. It's okay, how do I even just write? How do I give every single one of those persons a list or even a guidelines to help them out, right? It's instead of having 2-hour consults with each and every one of them, let's make it easier for people. That's kind of one thing I want to start doing. I'm not trying to get in front of the mirror or the camera and make videos or anything right now, but just public speaking. Thank you for getting me on a podcast.
I will never tell you when we start recording.
Because that's one of my big things. Public speaking, just speaking in general.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start this year more having more blogging. Basically, I'm going to write. Just got to start writing, just throw it out there.
Yeah.
Right. So that's honestly one of my biggest ones. I don't have a ton of goals that I'm trying to start in 2018. I just have a lot of things that I started in 2017 that still need that take longer than a year to finish.
Yeah.
Right. But I was dwelling on that. Man, why aren't you a New Year resolution kind of guy? It's I just remember people telling me people don't change. People don't change. It's and I just ran through my head people change all the fucking time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Whether it's habits or goals or things that they want to chase, people are constantly evolving, constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think you have to wait for the new year. I think it's great to look back on what you did in the year. But you're a person that's probably going to start something here in February 23rd, 2018, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to wait till the new year.
Yeah.
So the New Year resolution stuff I don't like, but being in the fitness industry, I try to capitalize on.
Yeah.
Well, people want new year, new me, new body.
Yeah.
Year for me, year to look sexy, kind of stuff, right? So,
and that's everybody wants that. Everybody wants to be better on some regard. It's just a matter of how long it's been validated for you to not be there, and New Year's Eve is just the perfect excuse to actually finally do it. But it's set up for failure so many times. I've done little things before where you are in no way practicing any sort of behavior that's going to help you improve, and then all of a sudden you come up with a good New Year's resolution just all of a sudden off the top of your head, and then day one starts and you're just faced again. You're against this habit that you've had for so long. Especially if it has to do with eating or those sort of things. From the end of October, you start with Halloween candy all the way through. It's just gorging. It's the worst time of year for eating, and all of a sudden you're going to go cold turkey. That's really tough to do. But yeah, same thing with you as far as like process stuff. As far as my attitude towards eating and fitness, everything. I've always never got to a point where I was like, man, I need to fix something, otherwise it's over. But talking with my buddy Danny in June of just about, he talked to a nurse about what is the one thing I can do or should focus on to make myself more healthy and prevent disease, and it was gut health. It was just really paying attention to what you're eating, because that affects everything. Your brain, your mood, all that stuff comes from that. And so when I talked to him about that in June, it kind of got a little traction, and so I was a little bit more conscious, but become more conscious about it, and then that kind of gave a little bit more motivation to reading stuff. So I'm not just citing a buddy that we had a conversation over breakfast. It's reinforcing that through what I listen to in the mornings, podcasts about healthy living, which replaced ESPN and nonsense, really. So then, it's getting the brain involved, and then a huge difference. And the whole idea, hey, if I have 15 or 20 minutes before practice to work out, I'm going to the weight room. Just something. I can row for a little bit. I can whatever it is, just make the most of those sort of opportunities. So like if I'm adopting 2 words for the year, it's like priorities and then to be creative or to create. What are my priorities? What am I going to do with this 30, 40, 50 minutes? And then to create, like you were talking about talking, we've come to the point where we consume so much the ideas, thoughts of others, and we don't, what does that mean? There's your individual, the way that you look at things, the way that you see things can be beneficial to other people, but if you don't produce anything, they never get it.
Never get it. That's funny you say that, because like one of the things someone I very close to, we talk about it all the time, is like we listen to all these podcasts, we read all these books, and like how are we implementing into our daily lives, right? It's like, you talk about habit. I want to go back to that for a bit. It's like if you don't have those habits that set you up for success, or just consistently fall into, because when you're not even thinking about it, you're going to do these things that you don't. Because it's a habit, right?
Yeah.
I don't think most folks know this, but I was pretty big on chewing tobacco, and there's only people that know that because I was comfortable with those people. But I picked it up when I was in the military. Man, just everybody was taking these 15, 20-minute smoke breaks and chewing breaks, and just not even working on the plane. And here I am, a 19-year-old boy still. He's just learning from these men who are just overworked and just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
That you stay out there, you're not a smoker, and eventually just picked up the habit, and I liked it, and it stuck with me for a while. I quit, and I picked it back up with probably like a year and a half ago. But I just recently quit again, like 3 months ago. talking to Sadie, and she's like, "Why'd you quit?" I was like, "Well, I just don't want to do it anymore." And we joke about it. It was like, "Oh, I was fiending today," you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have the desire to go back to it. I enjoyed it because some of them have pretty good flavors. But I was talking to her last night, and I was like, I wanted to talk to this person at the gym who has a tobacco habit still, and I was like, "Hey man, I just recently quit." But then, what's the answer I'm going to give him?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be like, "How'd you quit? Did you the gum, the pills?" Like, no, I quit because I just said I'm done doing this. It's easy for me just to say I don't want to do this anymore. It's not helping my life.
Yeah.
Because my habit is for optimal health and optimal function. I just can't be like, "Hey man, I quit because I wanted to quit." Like, he's going to look at that and be like, "You're an asshole."
Yeah,
or
I can't do that.
You think you're better than me, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm better than anybody. For me, it was my habits are I want to be healthier, and I wasn't talking the talk with putting chewing tobacco in my mouth,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I kind of set myself up for that. So like people going into the new year, it's the biggest thing is just like don't expect change immediately.
Yeah.
I think every small progress, small step is going to lead you to that way, and every time you fall off that trail, it's fine. But you just have to find having the habit and just figuring out, like, I need to get back on that trail would be a huge deal, huge help.
When I kind of came up with those words that I'm going to focus on this year, I literally drew it out on like a whiteboard. And then I below it, I wrote, what is preventing me? Or how do I accomplish this? And you look at those things that prevent you from your goals. Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
It's just, it's just a distraction. And as a teacher and as a coach, kids are listening to what you say. And there's content, there's delivery of content. Okay, well, what can I do with this? Like, I'm supposed to teach this. I'm supposed to talk about this. I can have a pretty profound impact on people by what I say to them, and so I'm a pretty sarcastic guy, and so I try to be as positive as possible, and tell kids. The assumption is for teachers, I think that, this is a great kid, and they know that I think that they're a great kid because they get an A in the class, But have you told the kid, hey, you're an awesome kid, and you should not be ashamed of the fact that you work hard and you get good grades, or it comes easily to you. And if you don't tell them, then maybe they don't know, and you spend so much time as a teacher thinking about the kids who are, need more assistance or more help, or the troubled kids in class, the ones that are acting out, and you don't spend as much time telling the great kids that they're great kids. And then with basketball too. And so there's nothing wrong with being positive. You don't have to be a demonstrative, authoritative coach, teacher. Like, you can, hey, you know what, kid, thanks for, you're a great kid. You are a great person. I have faith and I have confidence in you. So I've been trying to do a lot more of that too, like, because I don't think I said that enough. And kids will remember that stuff, and I would have remembered that. But yeah, you got to do it.
I like that, like the coaching aspect. I grew up with coaches who were just dicks, and they nothing on the coaches. I truly appreciate every single one of them because they kind of molded my coaching style. But I was a person who really thrived off of that. Mm-hmm. I like that intensity, that just
raw
at me, raw emotion. Yeah, for sure. Because I knew they cared. Yeah. Right. They weren't just yelling at me to yell at me, or nowadays, you have to be careful on how you yell at these kids. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I thrived off of that, and now with my kids, I've been doing this for about 5 years now. And last year I had 2 graduate that stayed with me when they were freshmen. And shout out to Bernie and Mendu.
Yeah, good kids.
Good kids.
I had both of them in my English classes too.
And those kids would probably say I was a dick the first year I had them, and even the first 2 years I had them. Mm-hmm. And then some of the kids who I had during those after those 2 years would probably say I'm a lot not softer now, but more so outgoing with them, because I'll joke around with them, I'll play with them, I'll dance with them. but they know when it's time to work. When I let them know that hey, I want you to focus. I don't have to scream anymore. I don't have to be in.
Yeah.
I wasn't really working. You know, just because it worked for me doesn't mean it worked for these kids.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids, they thrive off that positive feedback.
Yeah.
The kids I have now, especially, you know, like they all know I care for them. I'd do anything for these kids.
Yeah.
But me just yelling at them for no reason, they don't need that. They don't want that. They just kind of shut down.
Yeah.
Like, oh God,
Yeah.
he's so mad at me today. You're like, no, I'm not really mad at you. I'm just trying to get you all fired up, but that's not working, I guess. So hey, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Kind of, you know. So that's fun. And like you said, you didn't say it enough, and it's kind of like I really want. How do I let these kids know that I really do care for them every day and still get the most out of them? And that's kind of like it is. Like, okay, hey, Coach Kev cares for me.
Yeah.
I am going to give everything I have for him. And that's what we're trying to instill in these kids right now. It's been a blast. This is a different group, and like I said, they'd probably say I'm a lot nicer than I was with Zach or with Bernie and Mendes beforehand. But.
Yeah, it's such a, like you said, what works for some people doesn't work for others, and that level of accountability, but it's something you got to have, but you can't do blanket statement for everybody. You know, you have to individualize.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I'm doing this because I care. Like, what, really? Well, that's, you need to consider the other person with all the stuff you do. It's not up to that person to, okay, you have to figure out how you're going to handle me because I'm going to be me. Well, you can be you, but you can not be a jerk about it.
For sure. Oh yeah.
One of the first things about coaching that I learned is, you know, you get kind of fired up before games or this or that, and say, or if things aren't going well, don't you want to win? Well, of course they want to win, right? Yelling at them, taking a timeout to yell at them isn't going to help. You know, tell them what to do. You know, I have 30 seconds now. Okay, here's how we do it. How is so important, right? They won't win. They don't want to get embarrassed, of course, right? So what do I need to tell them so that they are motivated to, or that they're going to do the right thing? Like, here's the thing to look at. You know, when there's the crossover, do this, or you know, if they do this, then do this. Give them something that give them hope. You know, got the one and only Rock Ziggy now joining us, Zach Trudeau, the T part of LMT. We've been talking about goals for 2018, not necessarily resolution type stuff, but stuff that we've been working on. Kev's been working on the getting his voice out there and being a creator when it comes to saying things that are important to him. As far as my lifestyle, it kind of started with a conversation in June, and then it's been gradually getting more. You know, I'm reading the stuff. I'm reading the podcast, the healthy living that I'm really trying to adopt more and integrate in my life. So that started in June. So it's not really a resolution, but we're talking about it now because, of course, it's resolution season. So what are you currently working on? What are things that you're prioritizing as far as what you want 2018 to look like?
Well, I haven't actually put any goals or any, set things for 2018 out there. Good. And I never really have.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. Maybe it's I never really saw the point, because why do you need a day?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be like, I'm going to change today.
Yeah.
You know? If that's the case, if you really want it, go fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I really have a lot of time on my hands this year. Just started a new job where I'm not working around the clock. I'm doing a lot of things where I get to reflect on how awesome the past summer was and how I could maybe, I don't know, do more stuff this summer.
Mm-hmm.
Up here, you know, you only have 6-7 hours of daylight, and it's hard to get stuff done during that time. So I'm just planning for the summer. I'm just getting ready for that.
Yeah. About the day in, day out stuff, because you're a teacher now, one of the things that I adjusted to teaching is that you have all day, really mentally, emotionally, physically, it takes a lot out of you. But you're off pretty quick, and so the temptation can be when you get home from school, you just kind of lounge around and kill the clock until bedtime. What type of routine are you trying to establish to where your work doesn't become the entirety of your day? Like, what are you working toward to make sure that there's still things that are fulfilling in the life part of your day?
Oh, it's funny that you actually mentioned that, just because I fall into that trap some days. You know, some days I just find myself coming home and you're emotionally, physically, mentally, like, you're just drained. And so I do find those days where I'm just lounging around. I'm like, oh no, I wasted 4 hours. Like, you know, you cook dinner, you do things like that, but there's other days when I do get out and I set traps at, like, you know, 7, 8 o'clock at night when it was pitch black. I was out in a kayak cruising to those traps, or I was, you know, kind of roaming around or getting in the gym and lifting weights, doing whatever. But that free time can definitely be a killer.
Yeah.
It can be a killer. And I guess if, you know, you wanted to put a definition, or you wanted to put a stamp on 2017 and, you know, classify it that way, like, as a little bit of time wasted, I feel like that a little bit.
Well, I think the biggest thing when it comes to making any sort of declaration or resolution, whatever, is to be honest with things.
Yeah.
Now, some people, they spend a lot of time or energy trying to validate why they do what they do, and in validating why they do what they do, they don't leave any sort of room for improvement. You know, it's like, well, I don't do this because of this, and other people buy into it and say, well, yeah, okay, well, that's a valid excuse. He teaches all day, and so he's probably tired, so I'm not going to hold him accountable for not doing anything, which is a huge disservice, because, and we've talked about it before, and one of the reasons why we started LMT was to have that sort of level of accountability of, I want to be around people, and I want to live a life in which I'm mentally tough enough to do things that I like to do, which sounds totally stupid, but you can come home from work and you can sit around and kill time, Netflix, do whatever, but we live in Ketchikan, and there are dozens of trails that are so close. So even 15, 20-minute walk is so easy and so accessible. And yet it doesn't happen sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and that's that sort of, to live the best version of yourself and to live a life that's fulfilling. It's okay, work is done. How am I feeding myself? How am I feeding my soul? And what am I doing, you know, to have a life? And it's so easy here. You know, we're not in an urban setting where, gosh, it's 7 hours to drive to some wild place, or, you know, 2-hour drive. It's right here. And it's sad that it still doesn't happen. Like, there, you know, days I take days off too. Man, to get down to Lunch Creek is not very far. It's right there. But that's the being honest about it and saying, yeah, I have 24 hours in each day. I'm sleeping for part of that. I'm working for part of that. But there's a good chunk of time that's just for me. And what am I doing at that time? And if you're not honest with that, then you won't be successful in whatever. And if you're around people who validate, oh, well, I get it because you're tired when you come home from work, you're not going to get better. And that's, I think, the resolution thing, the people you surround yourself with is so important, because they're either going to help you make it happen, or they're going to help you make excuses. Or they're going to drag you down because, well, I didn't make a resolution and you want to get fit, but I feel bad about myself because you want to get fit and I'm not going to, so I'm going to try to, you know, sabotage your goals so that I feel better about myself. And let's
get drunk on a Friday night.
Let's go eat some Twinkies, you know. But
I don't see, for myself, I feel like I'm a social creature from time to time.
Creature.
And, yeah. Getting around a community that wants to move, that wants to get around, that helps with me. Sitting in a classroom, I don't know. I'm a PE teacher, so I'm always moving. By the time I get home, sometimes, I'm exhausted because kids are running around and I want to run around with them.
Yeah.
I want to get at it. So, question for you, like, as soon as you get that chance to coach, are you out there running with that team? Are you out like, give me the rock, I'm open?
Well, they kind of make fun of me on certain weeks, depending on when we have practice time. My JV practice will go, and then varsity practice will be right after that. So I got 4 hours of practice back to back because my JV team and then the varsity team, I help out with that. And then there was 2 weeks that varsity was right after school at 3, and then my team practiced at 7. And it's a 20-minute drive out north, and so it was practice 3 to 5, eat, work out, and then practice from 7 to 9. Like, those are some long days. But it is, sometimes it's nice to get in there, a little bit in some of the drills, just to, you're demonstrating, you're showing some of the dribbling drills, things like that. And then defensive type stuff. It's hard to replicate, anytime you have a scout team, right? When I was at U of A, the women's basketball team had dudes as a practice team, and I was on their practice team, and so it's different, because dudes are faster, and so the women's team at U of A, and it was Pat Summit at Tennessee that revolutionized that. Like, hey, let's get some really good boy basketball players, and let's go against them every day in practice rather than our scout team, rather than our worst 5, our bottom 5. Let's go against good dudes, and let's challenge ourselves. So when you're, it's high school, so it's a little bit different, but that's still, getting out there, and it's fun to be a part of that. But I get home from practice, I'm tired. I'm exhausted, and it's already dark. So when we do practice right after school, and if it happens to be JV and varsity at the same time, I'm in the small gym, they're in the big gym. I get home at 5:30. I'm tired. And I got 5 hours until sleep. It takes about an hour for dinner. But it's dark. Like what? So I've been trying to, like, I'm going to take some time to read. But even then, like, by the end of the day, I'm exhausted. Yeah. Like, I'm reading some sort of, medical book, or essentialism, some sort of, like, intellectual book. It's hard to get back up for that. You get up and you get psyched to teach, and then basketball practice, and you get home, and turning on hunting shows is easy. Even though they're terrible. I'm like, this hunting sucks.
Yeah. That's okay, though. I'm not giving you an excuse, but with the ebb and flow of life, we always ride these highs, we always ride these lows, and then trying to find balance between the two is ideal, but most of the time we don't, right? Like, when we're on these highs, we're like, oh, this is so great, I want to ride this high, and then all of a sudden, like, some days you're not, and then the next day you're not on that high, and it's like, wow, that's pretty shitty. But it's not, it really isn't. We just kind of had this, we were this lull. In wintertime, it's dark out, and it's okay. Yeah. And you gotta be okay. You gotta remember that. It's okay.
Yeah.
The intentions are there. Can we be better with our time? Yeah, we definitely can, but that requires you to be 100% on all the time. Yeah. And we're not always on, and that's okay.
No. Yeah.
But, like, going back to what we were talking about, is just having those habits to fall back on at the end of the day when it's like, okay, all right, these last 3 days I've been watching hunting shows, or I've been watching the British Baking Show. Not that I'm watching. Maybe I am. Yeah. But it's like, all right, I had 3 days where I binged, and I haven't binged, I just watched a show at night when I could have read, or I could have done something for myself or somebody else. And then having those habits to fall back on. Okay, fine, it's Thursday. I kind of watch movies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That's okay. It's Thursday. I'm going to get after it.
Yeah.
I'm going to get after it on Friday. I'm gonna get after on Saturday. Oh, Sunday's around. I'll watch a movie. Fine.
Yeah.
Monday rolls around. I'm getting after it, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I'm getting after it more days than I'm not.
Yeah.
Right. And so having those habits that we fall back onto, I think that's the foundation. But you have, like I said, it's cold, and even right now, the last 2 weeks has been cold out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been beautiful out, but it's been cold out. So it's like, all right, well, let me stay inside, stay warm a little bit.
There's a difference too between feeling bad about yourself and feeling like a failure, and I think that's why a lot of the resolutions fail, because I'm not going to drink soda this year, and then 7 days in you fail, and you get so low that, dang it, I failed. Rather than, you know what, it's 1 day.
6 days out of the 7, still passing.
Fine. So rather than just say, okay, you know what, I'm still better than I was. It's okay. Just being not feeling so guilty, feeling maybe just conscious or uncomfortable enough to say, all right, you know, my diet, I had some cookies. I get it. All right, that's fine too. I've been doing well. I can have a cookie. I'm not going to resent my diet. I'm not going to resent my lifestyle or quit it because I had one cheat meal. You know what? Hey,
it's that building process, you know, and be it a gym owner or be it a teacher, whatever, like, you see it, you know, but sometimes clients, students, whoever, they don't. The people that are out there making those New Year's resolutions, they're, oh no, I failed it, life is over.
Yeah.
No, there's gonna, like Kevin was saying, there's gonna be lows.
Yeah.
There's gonna be days when you're not hitting those PRs, or you're still 0 for 300 hunting deer.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna have those lows, but just build off of it.
And that's the angle that I wanted with Mediocre Alaskan Podcast. Mediocrity is something that, you know, it's a bad word for people who are motivated, but like, we're ordinary people. Like, we aren't CrossFit Games athletes, winners, you know, Teacher of the Year, New York Times best-selling writers. And I think this is the conversation that a lot of ordinary type people have. You know, super motivated, and the three of us, I know you guys, we're happy with our lives. We're not content. We want to get better, but it's that struggle. You know, it's that, hey, I want to do better. Like, I'm not going to be, you know, one day, I don't want to say I'm not going to have a hunting show. It'd be cool to have one, but, you know, if I don't have a hunting show, that doesn't mean I haven't made it. You know, I haven't arrived. Like, there's a very small fraction of the population that's able to be the absolute best example of hunting show, of CrossFit fitness, of, you know, NFL athlete, whatever. But there's that struggle to be better than you were the day before. And so the name Mediocre Alaskan does not mean, hey, just suck at life and it's okay. You're going to be bad at some things, but it's that struggle to get better. And that's the main thing. And that's, I think, a lot of people want an excuse to do better, but might not be around the right people or aren't really sure how to access it. And that's one of the reasons why I want to continue to keep doing this.
Trying to get more days off on this 2018. Is that weird?
No.
You know, a lot of people are like, I gotta work. But going back to what you said, like, you know, you have all this time, and it's like, we gotta do something productive about it. And I was like, I'm actually trying to give myself more weekends than I have in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So, but
well, you know, there were a couple times we went out steelhead fishing that we went Saturday evening, camp that night, and then fish Sunday for a couple hours. And so, I mean, it's totally fun. It was great to go out there and camp, but essentially you're going out for a camping trip, a couple hours of fishing on Sunday morning. And I knew you wanted to go.
And
you wanted to, hey,
let's things that I want to do more of, right? Like we talked about a little bit earlier, is like doing more, utilizing Alaska to its fullest.
Yeah.
Doing more of that stuff. But touching on what you said about not being around those the people, that's a hard thing to digest, right?
Yeah. You've
been with these friends for however many years. You know, deepest secrets with them, and all of a sudden it's like, you're starting to notice, like, hey, they're not feeding me the way I need to be fed right now.
Yeah.
And it's not like you don't ever want to be friends with them. Again, it's just like I need more support from other folks. It was something that I went through. Like when I started hanging with you guys more, I was talking to Sadie, like, man, my high school buddies, it's like, I don't hang out with them as much as I used to. What's going on? And it's nothing on them, but it was just our paths were not going the same route. They were not going the same route. And it was very hard for me to digest. I kept telling Sadie, like, I feel so bad. I want to hang out with them more, but I can't really connect with them as much as I used to. But I just felt so guilty and I felt so bad. But it's, you gotta swallow the pill and it's like, I'm going this route, and that's okay. It's not that I'm leaving them behind or anything. We're not leaving each other behind. We're just going on different paths, and we can meet again and say hi. We can hang out. We can be friends. But they are not feeding me to the core, to my core values, to everything I want to be and eventually aspire to be. And so that's a hard thing to do, man. So how do you tell people, like, hey, the people you're around they're pretty sucky, or not even sucky, but it's like they're not giving you what you need. How do you, it's like, well, those are hard habits to break.
One of the if you're in a group of, let's say, 5 people, because you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, and if you're not being fed by any of those 5 people, there's very likely at least 1 or 2 people within that same group who's thinking the same things you are.
Oh, for sure.
And so once you kind of break away, hey, I need to do this, and it's a form of selfishness, but it's a good selfishness. It's like, for my future, I'm going to be selfish with my future, with my health, with my body, with my whatever, with my soul, to do this. And then once someone else kind of sees that within that group, it's like, hey, that ends up making the bigger impact. Because if you're in the circle of no edification, of no, let's get more, you're not going anywhere. But once you kind of start to break free, chances are at least one person's going to come with you. It's like, I didn't know that you were thinking about that. Like, because that's not something we talk about as friends.
No, but hey, I might not want to hang out with you anymore. Or I can't hang out with you for a couple of weeks, months, years.
Yeah. Like, and once you do kind of break free, it's better for you, and then someone else is probably going to end up following. You can't create a positive wake if you don't make a wake. If you're just sitting there floating around, you're not doing anything. You start paddling towards somewhere, you start, whatever metaphorical motion, then someone else, okay, let's do this. And then in the end, you have to do that for yourself and then to help other people because you do care about them. And then other people, if they don't get it, then it's sad. It sucks. I've had friends like that, but you have one chance at this thing. Why would you not?
Yeah.
It's people use the whole "you only live once" thing as a reason to make bad decisions, but because you only live once, why would you ruin it?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
I was about to say like those exact words. You only live once, you might as well like get at it.
Yeah.
And
one of that trip before you start out with Zach, your buddy that we met in Santa Monica.
Down in L.A. Eve,
Mike, God, oh my goodness,
he got engaged. We didn't meet his girlfriend, but he got engaged.
Congratulations,
man. Eve, good man.
But we were typical Alaskans, Ketchikan Alaskans. Hey, how's it going, guys? Holding the door for people, smiling at everybody, waving at everybody that walked past us. It was hundreds of people. Nobody acknowledging us once. No. And then Eve said, "You guys have to want it. You guys got to be a little bit more aggressive than this. You guys are in Santa Monica. Nobody will ever pick you up." We're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh. How do I do that? How do I be aggressive in this world? It's a different lifestyle out there. It totally is.
Yeah.
It's all for one and none for all.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm by myself in this cold world.
Sense of purpose. Yeah. It's angry.
It's angry down there.
It's angry.
Yeah.
God damn.
It was fun to visit, fun to be there for a little bit, but then it was nice to come back home.
Yeah.
2017 for me, it was all about resiliency. I talked to you a little bit about that. Man, those first 3 months felt great. I was living. We talked about the ebbs and flow of life. I was at absolute high where nothing was stressed. There's no stressors in my life, nothing I couldn't even think of. I was just so thankful for everything. And then a couple things happened in my life that just kind of pushed me off the ledge and just tried to knock me down a little bit. It's like I had a great team of friends, a family behind me. I had no stress. It was amazing. And then all of a sudden, I was like, wow, I have all this stress in my life. How do I deal with it? And again, that resiliency piece is like, well, am I feeling this because of what happened to me when I was 6 or 7 or 8 years old? Like, why do I get so mad so easily? Why this? Why is this all happening to me? I'm feeling as victim, being the victim. And if I ever like found out those answers, would I ever be happy? You know, like it didn't matter. I'm not gonna be any happier if I knew those answers. You know, so just like, okay, these are all things that are happening to me. Figure it out, deal with it, fix it, or like the whole Tronco thing was like, oh, my dog got hurt. That was a pretty sad time for Sadie and I was like, okay, well, why him? You know, there's many dogs out there. Why him? How are we gonna come up with this money? How are we gonna fix this? We didn't sit there and dwell on it. Like we had our days, and then we had a plan and we had action and we went on with it, right? And so for me, for 2017 was all about resiliency. It's like, okay, things happen to in people's lives. They don't have to derail you fully. You can take some time to recover from it, and then after that, it's like, okay, back on the high horse, and let's get after it, right? And so,
Donald Miller wrote, "When something bad happens, you can get bitter or you can get better." Yeah. And that's a sort of, you can stay there in those depths and just really explore, and then make posts about how sad you are for how long, you know. Yeah. And some people do that, and there's that initial sort of reaction, letting people know, but then climbing out. Yeah. And some people stay there because they have, for some reason, they just stay in that, you know, you don't get out. After my dad passed away, it was the same sort of thing. It's like, you know, for a year I was just funky.
Yeah,
and it's weird, and big things and little things. So some very trivial things. You know, in high school when you break up with a boyfriend or girlfriend, it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you because you're in high school.
You have no reference.
Yeah, and so yeah, you hang on to that for so long, and you identify with that. But no, at some point you have to get it out. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you fail out of school, you lose your job, dog gets hit. It doesn't matter what it is. It's that same principle of, I got to climb out. I have to climb out. Doesn't matter how small or how huge it is, I have to climb out. You have to. There's no other option. And yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, big, small, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Sadie and I would joke around about it. It's like, wow, 2017 was so expensive. It was so shitty. Yeah. But it really wasn't. It was all life lessons. Like, oh man, we can easily, these moments don't define who we are. These moments don't define, my emotions. I am in full control of who I am and what I want to do. Mm-hmm. They're just incidents. And so that was a fun part. And now, it's over. And then it's like, all right, well, thank God that shit's over. Yep. Let's move on to 2018. New year, new me.
What do you got, Ziggy?
I was listening to Kevin there and sounded like quite the optimist, and that was great. For me, it's just another year.
Yeah.
It's just another one in the books. Yeah. It's something that I could look back at. I could see the Facebook feeds saying, "Oh, this is what you did in 2017."
Yeah, this is the best moment because it got the most likes. Like, what? Yeah, like, come on, man.
Like, this is when I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
Why did I get all these likes?
Like, Facebook does not sound human.
Yeah. But it's just another year.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not looking towards 2018 like, yeah, here it comes. I'm kind of, I don't know, this seasonal thinker where this is just another winter where I get to plan for steelhead fishing.
Yeah.
I get to plan a couple trips down south. I get to plan maybe some kind of moose hunt come fall or something like, you know, where I'm getting out and experience life a little bit more. Mentally, you know, it's just wanting to get at it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just another day, another week, another month, another year to, you know, get my head right and get my stuff together to get out there.
I think that's the important mindset, because if your baseline is an optimistic, motivated, industrious, productive mindset, then if something bad does happen, you're so much better prepared. If you're sitting around waiting for something bad to happen, like, oh, nothing really happens, tomorrow I'm going to be 50, you know, but if you're excited for life and you have a zest and a zeal for life, that when you do encounter something that is bad, you know that you want to get back to that. And so you're going to have more resiliency, like Kevin was talking about, because you have good friends, you have good habits. And I think that's so important. You know, some people don't really have anything except for work, you know, and they're not, there's nothing going on. So when something rocks a foundation that's not even, that's shaky to begin with, that's tough, you know. But if you have friends and you have self-worth and you have confidence and you're industrious and you're getting after it, something bad happens, it sucks still just as much, but that sort of climb out, like, hey, you know what, life is still good. I can get over this. You know, I have other things, I have other values, and that's so important, you know, to have that. So people are like, oh, Zach's all casual about whatever. No, like Zach's got it. And again, you had things when you were younger, to, you know, help you with that, help establish that mindset.
I think today in this world, the best learning tool, I think, for anyone and everyone is humility.
Yeah. Oh,
It is, you know, and I fail all the time, and I'm casual about it or whatever, but I know that I failed, and I'm like, okay, now I know what I did wrong, and let's get better at it. And honestly, that's what I like. That preparation, that getting better, and when you have the support to do the preparation with, to prepare for whatever, you know, a basketball game, you know, like that's what's fun. I get excited even talking about it right now, because, like, you know, something happens, you get a win, you do something, and that feeling is the awe, right? Mm-hmm. That's your climax. But, like, that building up, whatever it is, that's something that I always look forward to, day in and day out, and that's why, like, 2018, that's just the next year coming. That's just like that next year where I can keep preparing, keep doing something that I want to do.
Yeah, that's right. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. We'll call that episode 19, I think. I hope I didn't screw that up. I think it's 19. The Mediocre Alaskan Podcast. Make sure you go to themediocrealaskan.com. Check out content. Make sure you check out lmtlifestyle.com. Zach, Kevin, and I's business. Got some unbelievably comfortable shirts for anything that you're doing while you were crushing it in 2018. And check out Ketchikan CrossFit if you are in the Ketchikan area and you want to join a gym for 2018. And if you're in the Modesto, Manteca area, check out Chewy and Brennan at Resident CrossFit in Modesto. Have a great start to your year, and it is prime rib time for sure. We will talk to you next year.